Hello, welcome. This is the third session episode of the Illuminate series. Today is January 16th, 2025. Okay, well, welcome. Welcome to all you light warriors, earth angels. Welcome, you magical humans and all the magical beings that work with you. The dragons and the unicorns are really excited to come in today, and they have been extremely helpful this week in preparing for this conversation about the ego. They are very, very helpful and ready to serve, and have brought me an immense amount of relief and aha moments this week. So we celebrate that we can get together, take time out of our day, and be with like-minded people on the path of love to get support from each other and the unseen realms and answer the call. The ones that are really questioning and willing to change and grow and ask the questions that really deserve to get answers and be way showers and models to your friends and family and humanity. So thank you for being in here. So now we call in with gratitude and become in harmony with the beings of light that love to come to these group healings, the benevolent beings of light from our great and grand and central suns. There we go. Just open up your heart and really feel their presences. We're going to merge with them. Allow yourself to merge with these planets, with these suns, with these beings of light. They're essentially our higher selves. Okay. And as we allow ourselves to merge with these celestial beings, we also invite in the Elohim, the 12 rays of the sun, the masters of the 12 rays of the sun that illuminate our 12 energy centers, our chakras, and ignite our trifold flame in our hearts as we unite with our heavenly light codes that assist us from our higher self soul expression and vibrate at finer frequencies and guide us always if we choose to listen. We ignite the inner light of our mighty I am presences, our monads, our rainbow body, our blueprint, and of course, Mother, Father, God, the Holy Trinity, the Christed solar force energy to emit a glow from within our centers. There we go. Just let your heart soften to transcend obsolete patterns of separation and duality in ourselves as we model this in the world. And we now invoke the golden and violet flame and rainbow dragons. And just let yourself merge with the essence of their being. You're like family to them. So greet them in that way. Okay, here comes our unicorn gods and of course our guardian angels. The great white brotherhood, the great archangels, the ascended masters, which include Buddha and the Melchizedek beings and Isis and the Marys. There we go. Good. Whew. To support us all in creating a new solar earth together. Welcome to the beings of pure light from the illuminated realms of truth, assisting humanity at this time for all of us to take our next steps in our growth and healing and evolution. And may they be here with us now with ease and grace so that we change right to the core of our DNA and activate our ancient wisdom and ignite the internal heart flames of each individual around us as well, etherizing our energies to rise up from the confines of the lower scales of reality. Thank you, Source. And let's just see this group, whether those live or on the recording, as balls of light gathered in a circle. And the center of the circle is our I am presences, our pillar of light. And at the outside of the circle, we get both the violet flame, okay, And then the 0 point, it's like liquid crystal, plasma energy. There we go, around the outside of the circle. Great, thank you. I command you, God, to place each person live or listening to the recording into a sphere of unconditional love from the ultimate dimension, each with their sacral points in the center, activating our divine blueprint of DNA to our highest potentials. My name is Annie Nelson. I'm a healing facilitator and clairvoyant for over 30 years, and I'm your host. Along with the starseed aspect, my angel aspect of myself. Her name is Anna Star. And she's merging in right through the back of my head through the transmedium channels. Okay. And we gather now in safe and sacred space to develop our senses, our gifts, our inner presence, so that we can have more of it online in our day-to-day lives and receive healings in groups. And this enhances our psychic skills and our healing ability to change ourselves by doing it with others. It's exponential growth that we do just by coming together and doing it as a group. So just get out of your to-do mode and relax and receive. Just let it happen. And our topic today, you'll want to relax because the topic today is the ego's development and how the tree of life, and I'm going to put a picture up as we go, how the tree of life helps us with better communication through the high heart chakra, the thymus. It's called the Da'at, D-A-A-T. And this will in turn change us internally. And so let us begin. So we're going to talk about the tree of life. The tree of life, the symbol, has been represented in so many religions. Judaism, Christianity, ancient Egypt, Buddhist, African, Turkish, Celtic cultures. It's written about in the Bible a lot. And it's said that it is the representation of heaven. So to embody the tree of life, that would be your spine. And the tube of light around it that encapsulates it. So you are meant to embody heaven, where we came from, the vibrations of fifth dimensional energy, oneness, on earth in physical form. And we, of course, know one person that did that, Jesus, Joshua. He lived with the tree of life erected and alive in him as a human, right? Not forgetting who he was. So when we get into Kabbalism, Kabbalism is an ancient Jewish tradition. It's a mystical interpretation of the Bible. And I like what the Kabbalah says about the thymus chakra waking up, this high heart, the da'at. And it's the Hebrew word da'at for man, woman, of knowledge, this high heart center, da'at. It's the center of knowledge. So it's where we used to communicate from before we used words, before this throat chakra became developed. We used to communicate. This is how animals communicate with each other. They just, with a look, they transmit like, 1,000 thoughts, feelings, and emotions and words in a second. That's where we used to communicate from. So the Garden of Eden had a tree of life and a tree of good and evil. And God, so the story goes, let Adam and Eve choose which tree they would like to eat the fruit from. The tree of life, which would keep them connected to heaven in a body, or the tree of good and evil. And of course, we all know how the story goes and what they ate, right? Okay, so the snake, blah, 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 and they ate from the tree of good and evil. And then it instantly changed the reality of them that they were experiencing. So what happened to the tree of life is it broke off at the top, right here, right where we used to communicate from, the knowledge. And it buried the knowledge deep into the earth, knowing that we were going to be in this darkness of good and evil, this life of duality, this life of separation from source for quite a while. And that knowledge that we used to have and our wisdom got buried, and it only becomes accessible for those that are doing their shadow work to get back to the purity, the weaving of the light and the dark, the good and the evil. So it again is an erect tree with harmonization and can be merged with the tree of life. So see how that story sits with you, that the fall from grace was one that ended up burying our wisdom of the truth and left us in a world dealing with light and dark as our reality, and not having this higher reference point for the tree of life. Our world becomes a life of good and dark, light and dark, good and evil. And so it's going to really start to unwind things for you, because we had to get by with then just using learning in our head instead of wisdom. So you don't gain wisdom through learning in your head. The da'at was the sphere of knowledge, and that knowledge means it was the abyss, the void, the depth, the heart, the high heart. Knowledge is useful, but it can't take you through that abyss of death, that void, and have a sense of you continuing to know yourself, right? You get confused. You forget you're one. So the mind isn't your enemy, but it isn't your savior either. But it's just trying to protect you, right? So we have the reptilian brain that developed from our real wisdom of the tree of life being buried. The things you learn try to protect you, but they don't enlighten you. That's an experience that comes from within inside, merging with this light that travels up and down your spine and illuminates your chakra and the way you see the world, right? But if we don't feel safe, it's usually because we're not accustomed to the states beyond the mind, the unknown, the darkness, the void, the abyss. So higher vibrations and higher states of consciousness are meant to be integrated over periods of time, like eons of time, lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. And many of us have this sense like, oh, I need to push, I need to get there. It's taken so many millenniums of time, and I'm still forgetting who I really am. So as humans, we start to push and force for it to happen quicker, because we once we get a flavor of what we're missing, the heart of God in our bodies and in our minds, you get hungry and you try to push or take the shortcut. But that makes things sometimes happen so quickly that it can be dangerous, and then you lose touch with reality. And can chemically alter yourself in a way that then is not helpful. And you see some people doing it with certain ceremonies, or just detaching so much from everyday life that they become they look like they're out of their minds. And so we want to be grounded, and we want our nervous system to naturally evolve with us and help us, so that the parasympathetic system can be online like in a breath. So we're not trying to create more shock by waking ourselves up. We're doing it by getting guidance and being in divine time with what we can handle. If we do it that way, we'll never bite off more than we can chew. We'll never tackle more shadow than we can handle to look at. So instead of we're going from the shifting and the pushing to making something happen, and might is right, to allowing, to emptying ourselves from our ego's will so that the divine will may enter with the invitation and have a place that has space for it, that's willing, so that we are inviting and accepting in this guidance to be whole again. But if you empty yourself out and then you don't look at what's in there, like if you don't clean the temple after you get the garbage out and you don't actually mop and stuff, then you can attract really disturbing, discordant energies. And I think this is where a lot of us get hung up. So even the smallest speck of fear can keep the divine from entering into our temple. So we must train ourselves to feel safe and to override the fear and have trust and faith that letting go is a good thing, right? Because the ego would say, stupid, really bad idea, don't do that, right? So letting go is a good thing. And that's why we do our shadow work. And that's why we get together in these things and that we're doing now and read books and take classes and get shadow work sessions and whatever your version of it is. So, being human, there is inherently a great deal of grief in our bodies and our beings, and because of the lineages of our history that just keep perpetuating things in lifetime after lifetime. And maybe this is the sacrifice of being human, a cross that we bear, an invitation to the initiation, until we let the pain and the grief become illuminated and transformed, then we will no longer need to create a future like the past. And this is where the evolution of the ego comes in. Yay. Okay. So together, let's just breathe in and out before we go any further and do some of brain balancing so we can have our ego be excited to be included in this conversation and change and be invited to change. Okay, so let's breathe in and out. Letting go of the previous parts of the day. If my volume's not good, I'll trust someone will put it in the chat for me. Okay. And we get online for what spirit has to offer us in the now moment. Doing our brain bow, coning our fingers, crossing them, integrating our left and right side brain hemispheres so that we can receive the messages more clearly. Great. Here comes another hole. The angels are getting closer now. There it is. Okay, great. And when that shifts, put your other wrist in front, integrating the left and right side of the brain for fifth dimensional intuition to get into our intuitive minds. Okay, visualizing maybe even golden infinity loops going from the left to the right side of your brain. And then we hold our hands out from our sides of our ears and run rainbow light through one hand to the other, the brain bow. Breathing gently until we feel coherence within ourselves, coherence in the circle. There we go. Now we're starting to all pulse together. Ooh. And counterclockwise, pink spiral coming from below. We're going to get our Merkabahs, our sacred geometry shape that embodies our soul, spirit, and body together. So one triangle comes in from above, one from below. Counterclockwise spin, pink spiral from Mother Earth. Great. And that comes all the way up. And then clockwise, a golden spiral. Ah, down from the masculine energy, the divine, the sun. So we'll claim our bodies with our soul's name for sovereignty from anything that would wish to hold us back. So I am, and then say your name, and only say your name. And I accept this healing for my highest good. And then I'll say, I now command all healing work that we invoke is coming from 100% full source, not from our ego's agendas, in the highest way possible, with ease and grace. Thank you. Okay, okay. So the yawning is just you're up leveling to another level. Because now I'm feeling us all starting to pulse as a group, and this is good. So now we're expanding our power here. So we just talked about the tree of life. Now let's add in the ego. So in Dr. Joe Dispenza's wonderful wise words, the question is not, where do I need to heal? The question is, where do I need to change? He lays it out beautifully, saying, where do I need to change my thoughts and beliefs that are affecting my biology, my body, stuck programs that are actually the pathology of why I'm not feeling well. So let's break this down and have a conversation about the ego, okay? And so let's have a good look and ask ourselves, where can we change? Because if we change the pathological pattern we have in our thoughts, our biology will change. But we're so programmed to be like, I'm just going to heal. But change is the prerequisite for the healing to take place. Because if you're in a total open receiving mode for healing, that means you are totally allowing and welcoming and merging with source. You're allowing God to do the work. But you see, our egos will keep us on the line and prevent that. So let's just call it like it is. So this is why to change, we're developing this high heart chakra, this thymus, and the importance of it connecting to the whole communication system within all of our bodies and the tree of life within source, straight down to the heart of our earth. And we're in the proper time and place and space and evolution on the planet to be having the conversation about the ego right now. Not killing the ego anymore, evolving it to be the super ego. This will be our super consciousness. And so when we go inside and have an honest look, what inside of us needs to become whole again for me to be of best service to myself, to my friends, family, neighbors, whatever? What in me has darkness still in it? What in me is calling for wholeness that I can ask of myself to change? And then that would allow me to let in the flow and restore the light to my being, to my energy centers, restoring wholeness to my communication that would get me off the hamster wheel of my mind and the things I think I've learned into just dropping down into wisdom and knowing through the high heart. So how can I see that I'm working on the same things as everybody else is working on around me? And yet, what is my personal flavor of my ego? So you can either ask yourself this now or in the inner presencing. When I looked at my ego, oh, I noticed she closes down And then I close down and become defensive and angry and argumentative, or I feel hurt or threatened when things don't go her way. So I'm wondering inside, what is it that makes my tolerance so low, my threshold so low, my ability to cope with challenges so low? Because in an ever-changing world that gets harder right now, I need more resilience available to me more than ever, right? So now I'm having a real conversation with myself. So in me, I noticed my ego exaggerates and dramatizes and tells her story of what's going on in a way that is sad and makes her sound like a victim, makes me sound like a victim, that she she embellishes things and makes it really worse than it really is. So we're owning our own ego. We're owning our own shadow. Okay, there we go. And all my lower centers now are just lit up. Okay, because all these thoughts, feelings, emotions, I've never shared this with anyone. So all these thoughts, feelings, and frozen emotions in me, within my timeline, within my memories of trauma, that's the chip on my shoulder that results in me being vigilant that I don't get burned again. And we're going back to what we've talked about before. The angel's on one shoulder and the devil's on the other shoulder. Yeah. Light, dark. Light side, dark side. Ego, pain body. Okay. And so some people call it the Luciferian aspect of ourselves. Um, we all have this. We've all been assigned to this, each human. And in some cases, it's even called evil, which I'm sure you've all figured out before, but for me, it was a big aha moment. Evil is life spelled backwards, right? So if you're not living in your tree of life, you are tempted by the dark, you are tempted by evil. And evil is fodder for a lot of disincarnated beings on the planet who look for people who are going to run some low vibrations because that is a juicy place for them to hang out. Now we can turn those over to God, to source, but we're responsible for our ego. Okay. The dark side, the part that feels disconnected from source, that doesn't feel like it's in the power of the light, that's unhappy about situations, perhaps looking for a way out. Um, but in my case, I notice she wants people to feel sorry for her, to say, wow, what you're going through is really hard. How can I help? And not just help, my ego wants people to fix it for me and recognize how hard it is for her. Because she can't do it all alone. So someone needs to come fix this. And she doesn't know how to be happy in moments when when things aren't going her way. And she gets really disgruntled when the Pollyanna me, see, that's my other side, the Pollyanna, glasses half full, love and light. Yeah, I've got that side too. But she doesn't know how to bridge that gap to positivity. And it's not even her job. Her job is to be in opposition of the light in me and the world around me. That's the polarity. That's the mirror. That's the dark part of me. It's the antithesis. It's the opposite. It's the polarity. It's the mirror of the opposite. The part of me that does view the world is in perfect order and that I am a child of the light. We both have those two sides until they become integrated again, whole. So what Spirit's been teaching me in the last few weeks, preparing for this, is that this center is the relay point of how to really identify and talk, let my ego speak, express, and as well, the conversation will be the other side of me included too. So if I'm lit up, and that's the only part of me that knows how to like communicate in the moment, right? Because I'm lit up, she's going to feel that burden, that darkness, that overwhelm of not being able to handle things because she doesn't have faith. Her trust has been broken so many times, and she's got a scorecard of the things that haven't gone their way and the people that are to blame and that they need to change, not me, not her. And she knows her job, being dark and being stuck. And it's her assumption that God doesn't love her because of her darkness and her stuckness. So if that's the part that's communicating, then how do I, the other part of me that does know I am God in body as well, how do I guide that communication that I'm having? Holding space for how she's feeling and expressing her darkness, and yet at the same time, be willing to change with integrated communication through the wisdom of the tree of life that is now alive and activated in all of us. It is no longer broken. And knowing that changing that communication, the healing will come after the change is acknowledged. So I acknowledge the ego needs to change. So if I stay observing my dark side of myself and I'm embodied and I'm breathing into my heart, the conversation changes. So if someone asks me how I'm doing, instead of the exaggeration of how bad things are and how rough it is, and I feel shut down and I feel overwhelmed and I can communicate that behavior, and I can also add to the conversation, the communication I'm having, that I can pray for courage and strength to speak through her and see the changes that might sound like she's expressing herself from wholeness. So when I'm in a situation, I feel challenged, I'm losing hope, I don't know how to get out of it, I feel frozen and stuck. Half the time we're getting out of our body, and then just the darkness takes over, right? So I'm gonna feel that inside and be like, whoa, 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 I'm not gonna leave, I'm gonna stay. I realize I'm not feeling effective and I'm not feeling in control, but I'm gonna stay consciously connected to the love that is here for me on the planet. And I have faith that things are gonna work out because things always do. And I know I'm in an initiation, that I'm being tested. And I know that others are being tested too. And I've forgotten that I love them. And I've forgotten that I love myself in this process. And I've forgotten that I am committed to life. And that even though evolution feels painful, that I have not forgotten that I can go through something really hard without the suffering. I can acknowledge for a moment when I'm talking and I sound insane and dark and despondent and a victim, that I've forgotten for a second that God loves me. I've forgotten that others love me, that I love others, that we're all suffering and have hard times. So we can admit, I forgot in this moment that I'm a presence of the alternative in this dark moment, but I am willing to change the biology of my beliefs and stay online and ask and sit and receive guidance. I mean, imagine how the world would receive us and how much forgiveness we'd have for ourselves if we actually communicated at that depth, at that level of expressing both sides of us, the parts that's suffering and the parts that knows in that moment that that's my wound talking and that I'm holding space for her while I invite and receive the light. So even though things might be challenging, suffering isn't a requirement. It is an effect of the pathology of the mind deciding that things are hard, wanting them to go a different way, and having a story behind it. What Spirit showed me this past week, that when you boil it down, everybody's story, it will go back to root wounds, shame, lack, isolation. And this is all stems from witnessing ourselves fall from grace in the Garden of Eden when the tree of life separated from our choice to go experience polarity and forget who we are. That is humanity's core wound that we all have in common. Shame, guilt, lack, betrayal, isolation, unworthiness. These are the original wounds. So I can't think my way out of it, but I can love my way out of it, having compassion for that human wound that we all have. And I can invite and allow the light in to illuminate the ego patterns of thinking, and I can start to feel the energy flow again and intertwine the light and the dark, the head and the heart, and the vines getting deeper into the roots of my tree of life, love, and knowledge. The wisdom erecting again into my life stream through my spine, illuminating the story, illuminating and changing the wounds and bringing life again online, deeply at our core, into the pain body. So, two streams of life on the planet, pro-life, anti-life, right? The angel, pro-life, anti-life, the devil, right? So once we now really understand that our pain body is our ego, it makes sense, right? Okay. Yet even with this acknowledgement of struggle, every human has messenger codes of perfection in them. Every electron at the core of every cell, every atom, there is a purity within us. And these are the codes we had in the Garden of Eden, the vibration of fifth dimensional energy, pure, pure, holy thoughts before our misuse of our mental capacities. And all this got triggered in our forgetting and then affected our DNA, where certain codes of DNA went to sleep that weren't recognizing the oneness, and other codes got activated, fight or flight programming in our back brain, our reptilian brain. So I want to share the picture of um the tree of life so that you guys can either um take a screenshot or I don't know if I can leave it up. Let me see. I want you to just get a good look at it. The da'at, right? The high heart. The heart is beauty. We have strength and mercy. And then all these got buried. Our crown chakra, crown of the sun, understanding, wisdom. This is what's all getting activated again. Beautiful circle around this knowledge, this high heart. Ah. So let's go in. Let's go inside. We will turn on some music and you can listen to my words or not. I'm going to read a prayer, a really thorough one for some deep clearing. And if you want to just rest and not repeat, go ahead and do that. When you listen to the replay, I would make sure you listen to the replay at least once and say it out loud with your so that you can really have it resonate. Your words have vibration, have it resonate in your body. Or you can do it now, just silently, quietly, either in your head or silently with your voice. Say it as I read it. So what was I doing? Right. We're gonna put on some music. Okay. Okay. Not that one. No. Let's see if I can hear it. Any second, I'll get it. I think that's it. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. I think you can hear the music and my voice simultaneously. I don't know why I can't see anyone. Okay, put it in the chat if you can't hear me. And put this one on too. Just so we really get a feeling of the tree of life. Oh, yeah. Oh. So our intention as we go inside for this inner presencing is to shed light and love into our shadow, our darkness, our pain body, our egos, and ask for help that we have called in and has gathered so that we can change the way we're wired inside. So we no longer need to limit our joy, health, success. The better we know ourselves, the better we are equipped to choose wisely. Okay. This is going to be really fun. I state your name, place myself, state your name, into a full court of atonement. I call in all levels of my consciousness, unconsciousness, subconsciousness, ego, body, and souls, higher selves, bodies, higher selves, oversoul, my avatar consciousness, my I am presence, my mind, body, heart, and spirit, and the male and female aspects of myself. I call in all layers of my energy field, all aspects of me across all time, space, dimensions, and realities, whether denied or integrated. I call in my bodies, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, spiritual, dimensional, and astral bodies. I call in the divine Mother, Father, God, my angels, teams, and master guides, and the crystal consciousness of our Sun. I ask for heart optimization, soul recognition, destructuring of the patterns that hold grief, trauma, drama, injury from all my experiences that created separateness and disconnection from the One. I am asking for forgiveness for misuse of my energy, and I am extending it as well. I'm asking for restoration of self. I am asking for the development and maintenance of 100% healthy boundaries for all aspects of my being. I am asking for the destructuring of energy that has been holding in place ill health, struggle, karma, victim patterning, negative transmissional frequencies, astral parasites, psychic attack, drama, and trauma patterns. And structures that would keep me from changing, growing, and becoming aware. I ask for the development of structures of perfection to enable joy, health, and success, and growth with ease and grace in all my waking hours and all my sleeping hours. I call in my ancestral lineages and timelines where I am expressing myself, and I am asking for the restoration of the tree of life within me. I am asking for the perfected design of my DNA and structures that support self-worth, gratitude, and courage. I am asking for optimization of my divine life, force, energy, connection, and optimization of my energy chakras. I ask the 12 rays of the sun to illuminate my crystalline centers, to support positive change of letting go of that which is not in divine resonance, so that my physical systems can be illuminated for their divine upgrades and structures that support health. I command you, Source, to analyze my energy fields, my geometries, my body, mind, and soul, and all of my consciousnesses. And I am asking for transcendence assistance for anyone or anything that does not emit purity and source light. I now place the discordance, disharmony, manipulation, control, domination, suppression, false light, confusion, and fear on God's altar. And I now ask the divine to transmute and destructure these, so that I may now change my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. My geometries, my colors, sounds, frequencies, and vibrations. And I can now hold the restoration of peace. Thank you, Source. I am also asking for renegotiation of same soul contracts and divine guidance every moment of every day, in all my waking hours and all my sleeping hours. Thank you all with love, peace, and gratitude. Take a couple of nice, easy, deep, relaxing Full breaths. Expressing gratitude for all the beings of light that came to support us today, and asking for the most appropriate colors, sounds, frequencies, and vibrations for gentle and easy integration. And then we'll come back together, knowing that the stage has been set for change that will lead to easy healing, growth, and evolution. And that we are so supported every moment of every day. It is really, really true. And that the ego is going to be a great ally for us as we move forward. And it knows it's not going to be cast out, that there's a commitment and a real effort being made by us that is divine for its growth and evolution. And so I will say thank you all. And I hope it's not another 2 months before we do this again. I'm going to turn off the recording. And for those who would like, we can stay and have some feedback, or people can share their experiences or what they noticed, or just even just how they're feeling. And my love to all of you, and be well. I know some people are really thriving right now, and so I'm thrilled for that. Um, and also have a lot of compassion for those who feel like they're in the riptide. Either way, we have the tools we need, and this awakening of this wisdom chakra in our own inner tree in life is going to really benefit our communication systems, so that we start to communicate as a whole integrated being, even as we are in the process of changing, healing, growing. So I look forward to our next time together, and so much love, and look forward to our next time.